The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello and welcome to Open, the show opening the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm Darren Jaime. Today we're going to update you on what's happening in and around our borough and New York City. Coming up, we'll sit down with Councilman Rafael Salamanca Jr. to discuss the earthquakes happening in Puerto Rico and the relief efforts that are taking place to help. Then afterwards, we'll discuss about symptoms, preventions, treatments, and common thyroid disorders with an endocrinologist at Columbia University Thyroid Center. And then we're going to talk to an award-winning author, Oscar Sanders, about his new book, Exposing Politics, a collection of poetry. And then we'll learn about a seminar for first-time home buyers and sellers. Also, BronxWorks and BronxNet are partnering up for the 2020 Polar Bear Plunge, a dip against homelessness. We'll discuss a little later on in the show. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I'm Darren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, January 15th. And you're now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. And you can stay connected to us on all our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, some things have been going on through this past week. We'll catch you up through some Bronx updates. New York City's revealed a new Fair Fares program, helping cut MetroCard prices in half for some riders. Over 100,000 New Yorkers have already signed up for the program, offering a significantly reduced rate for eligible commuters. Under the new program, low-income commuters can get 50% discounted on their train and bus fares, and that should be some bus fares, I should say. Now, pay-per-ride weekly, monthly, and unlimited ride options will all be available with the program. The city says the goal is to help people get where they need to go without breaking the bank. Open enrollment for all New Yorkers begins on January 27th. In other news, a judge has blocked New York State from enforcing an executive order banning flavored vaping products. Acting State Supreme Court Justice Catherine Kalakis ruled that the State Public Health and Health Planning Council overstepped its authority last September when it issued a ban on e-cigarettes, allowing e-liquids flavored and anything other than tobacco or menthol. Now, the e-cigarette industry argued the ban would have forced vaping businesses across the state to close, but New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo has called vaping a public health crisis and accused, quote, unscrupulous vaping companies, end quote, of targeting young people with flavors like cotton candy and bubble gum. Governor Cuomo also stated he would introduce legislation to ban flavored nicotine e-cigarette products, as well as vaping advertisements aimed at youth. Regulating e-cigarettes has gained urgency in recent months as vaping illnesses has continued to rise nationwide. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports as of December 17, 2019, more than 2,500 people across the United States have reported respiratory issues related to vaping, and 54 people are known to have died. Well, Councilwoman Vanessa Gibson, elected Bronx officials, and SOS Bronx hosted a press conference bringing awareness to the attack against 60-year-old Juan Fresnada. Our BronxNet reporter, Veronica Kiti, was on the scene, and she has our report.
Councilwoman Vanessa Gibson and SOS Bronx hosted a press conference to bring awareness to the vicious attack against 60-year-old Juan Fresnada on Christmas Eve. Fresnada and his partner Byron Caceres had just walked out of a McDonald's on 3rd Avenue and 164th Street in the Morcenius section of the Bronx. They were approached by 5 young men for an attempted robbery. When the couple refused to give up their valuables, the 5 men brutally beat Fresnada and robbed him for what he had, which was just $1. Caceres tried to find help, but the damage had been done. Fresnada was taken to Lincoln Hospital, where he died 3 days later. Councilwoman Gibson and other elected official leaders pleaded with the community to bring forth any information to bring the 5 men involved in this crime to justice.
This is the wanted flyer of all of the individuals that we know are involved in this horrific assault that is now a homicide. Someone knows something, and we are appealing to our friends in the media to help us so we can help our neighbors. Someone must come forward to give this family the closure that they rightfully deserve.
We can't walk by and go to work and go to school and pretend that someone did not die here, that someone did not lose their life for $1.
SOS! Save our streets!
Since this press conference, 2 arrests have been made, but police are still looking for 3 more suspects. For BronxNet, I'm Veronica Guiti.
And thank you, Veronica. Now, if anyone has any information on the other attackers, please call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. That number, once again, 1-800-577-TIPS. Well, that's all we have for Bronx Updates. We are taking a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk to Councilman Rafael Salamanca Jr. about the earthquakes in Puerto Rico. That's up next. Stay tuned.
Praise the Lord. I'm Evangelist Barbara Mayo. I have a program called The Great God. I come on every Saturday at 3:30, channel 70 and 36 on Fios. You need to catch me because it's a program to encourage, to lift up, and if you don't know anybody that haven't heard about the program, tell them about it. They'll be encouraged, for God is good. God bless you.
And thank you for staying with us. Puerto Rico is in a state of emergency after being hit by 2 massive earthquakes. A 5.9 magnitude earthquake struck on December 28th, followed by a 6.4 magnitude earthquake on January the 7th. The quake is at least responsible for the death of 1 man, destroying homes and leaving most of the island without power, with an estimate of $110 million in damages. Here now to tell us how New York City is providing help to Puerto Rico is the council member for the 17th District, of the New York City Council, Councilman Rafael Salamanca Jr. Good to have you, Councilman.
Thank you for having me.
Good. And so today it's a very special day because, as we know, there's a 22-person delegation that's already in Puerto Rico, much because you were able to actually write a letter to the mayor. First of all, talk about the response effort in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico at this moment, it's devastated. They're still trying to recoup from Maria a little over 2 years ago. The federal government has been very laid back in really providing the resources that they need. And at the end of December, they were hit by a massive earthquake. And last week, Monday, they were hit by another massive earthquake of about 6.4. Immediately when that happened, that morning, I get a call from my colleague, Reverend Ruben Diaz, and he says, Salamanca, let's sit down in my office, let's have a press conference. We need to figure out how we're going to help Puerto Rico. And so we sat there in the press conference. We had access to a few mayors in Puerto Rico. We gave them a call and we asked them, how can we help you? What is it that you need? And they said two things. They said, please pray for us. And secondly, they said, we need engineers, we need inspectors to come and inspect our homes, inspect our schools, our bridges. The infrastructure is weak as it is and is falling apart. People are sleeping in the street. And immediately I wrote a letter co-signed by Reverend Ruben Diaz and some of my colleagues in the City Council asking that the mayor send a delegation of emergency management staff and also building inspectors so that they can go and inspect these buildings and inspect these schools. The letter was written last week. And just yesterday, I had a press conference with the mayor where he is sending a delegation of 22 professionals of engineers and emergency management staff who will go to Puerto Rico, the southern parts of Puerto Rico, to do these inspections.
What are you hearing so far with boots on the ground in Puerto Rico? I know you said that definitely prayers are needed and some resources are needed, but what about the people?
Yeah, the people, so there's many factors. First, we need to ensure that their structures, their infrastructure is safe so that they can return back home. And secondly, this earthquake has had an emotionally and mentally affected the people in Puerto Rico. When Maria, what's interesting is when Maria hit, the hurricane came, they were tracking it, right? There was news reports and we knew it was gonna hit, when it was gonna hit. We were expecting how many miles per hour this storm was going to really devastate Puerto Rico. An earthquake, there's really no warning, it just happens. And it just happened, and not just the earthquake, but the tremors that continue to happen. People are scared to go back to their homes. They're sleeping in the street. They're sleeping in tents. They're sleeping in their cars. So we, as New Yorkers, have to do all that we can to help them, provide them with the supplies that they need, and also provide them with the manpower that they need.
For residents here in New York City who could actually help out and be of assistance, I know there's a benefit concert, but what else can be done?
So on Friday, we are going to have a benefit concert here in Lehman College, where we are going to, it's kind of a fundraiser, and that those proceeds will go, and on Saturday, we will have a relief drive where we would be on the corner of Southern Boulevard and Alder Street, where we're going to have two 40-foot trailers, and we're going to be accepting supplies. We're asking people to bring batteries, flashlights, toiletries, things of that nature, tents if they have. We are not accepting any clothes, and we're not accepting any money on Saturday. So in order to get these materials shipped to Puerto Rico, there's a cost. And so the concert that we're having on Friday will cover the cost for what we're sending to Puerto Rico on Saturday. But what's interesting, and there's a fear, the fear of the trust in government in Puerto Rico. We saw what happened in Maria. Supplies that were sent were left in fields. It did not get to the people that actually need it. And so we're not sending these supplies to government, to any government officials. We have not-for-profits, we have religious institutions that are on the ground working with the people. The supplies will get to them, and we'll ensure that they get it to the people that most need it.
It led into my next question, talking about that, because we know the president has been criticized for his relief effort or his lack of attention to the relief effort. Talk to us about where that is and what and your thoughts about that.
Yeah, the federal government has totally turned their back on Puerto Rico. in terms of, yes, Congress approved the budget line, but it's up to the president to release that funding. And that funding, I believe yesterday he made an announcement that a couple of $2 billion were going to be released to Puerto Rico. But, we can't trust this government, this federal government, especially this president that's there in the White House. And so we, as New Yorkers, have to do all that we can to help what we called the sixth borough of the city of New York. I really want to applaud, number one, Governor Cuomo, who immediately sent his people down to Puerto Rico to help bring back the electricity and the power grid. And I know that the governor yesterday, with the borough president, Ruben Diaz Jr. and Marcos Crespo, they visited Puerto Rico to kind of assess what's happening there. And then finally, as I mentioned earlier, I really got to give a big kudos to Mayor Bill de Blasio for really stepping up and sending building engineers down to Puerto Rico.
And you two haven't always seen eye to eye.
No, we have not seen eye to eye, but I applaud him on his on moving this forward.
What do you see things happening going forward as far as Puerto Rico is concerned?
It's tough to say. We first, these earthquakes need to stop. But we have no control over that. Right. But I think that the government, especially down in Puerto Rico, once things calm down, have to really take a look at their infrastructure. The infrastructure is old, depleted, built decades ago, maybe not built with standards or built with very cheap materials. As they rebuild, I am confident that as New Yorkers, we will help them, guide them as to how to build more efficiently, more resilient. So when these storms come, these earthquakes come, the infrastructure does not get destroyed.
Your closing comments in regards to New Yorkers and being able to help out for Puerto Rico?
I am just really, I'm proud of Bronxites. I'm proud of New Yorkers for really stepping up in this time of need for Puerto Rico. And, I urge everyone, please come to the concerts. You can purchase tickets online. You can go to the Lehman College website. And if you can't, swing by on Saturday, help us out. Bring in a case of water, batteries, or if you financially can't do it, just come and help us load the trucks. That will go a long way.
Right. And once again, no clothes and no money donations will be received.
Yeah, exactly.
There.
Yes.
All right. Councilman Rafael Salamanca Jr.
Thank you.
Good to have you, buddy.
All right.
All right. Listen now, once again, there is a Puerto Rico earthquake relief concert taking place. That'll be Friday, January 17th at 7 p.m. at the Lehman Center for Performing Arts, located at 250 Bedford Park Boulevard West. Now, you can also join the councilman for a humanitarian relief effort taking place on Saturday, January 18th. That's going to be from 12 to 5 at Southern Boulevard and Aldous Street. We are taking a quick break. When we come back, we'll sit down with a doctor from Columbia University's Thyroid Center. That conversation comes up next.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, The Essence, here, right on the set of the The Essence Show. Please tune in each and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Files 34, Optimum 68, and live streaming BronxNet.tv. Or you better get in line.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
And we are back. January is National Thyroid Awareness Month, which aims to bring the public's attention to take care of the need of the important gland in the neck. An estimated 20 million Americans have some form of thyroid disease, with being more likely to develop more thyroid problems. And joining us now to tell us more details about thyroid disease is endocrinologist at Columbia University Thyroid Center, Dr. Haesue Lo. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So as we talk about Thyroid Disease Awareness Month, some people hear about it, really don't know exactly where's the thyroid, what goes on with the thyroid.
Very important. So what is the thyroid gland?
Right.
The thyroid is a butterfly-shaped small gland, and it sits in the middle of your neck. It's located between the collarbone and the Adam's apple, roughly. And its job is to make thyroid hormone. And this hormone is very important for your body because it's the main metabolic hormone. And that means that it regulates the way you burn calories, the way you expend energy. So it's important for weight maintenance. But it also controls things like temperature regulation, your heart, your digestive tract, how you handle fluid in your body. So it's very important that the thyroid hormone be in good balance in the body. That's also important because thyroid dysfunction, especially low thyroid or hypothyroidism, is very common, and it's estimated that up to 10% of the U.S. population has some form of hypothyroidism. So really important to know the signs and symptoms.
So when you do have a thyroid issue per se, whether it's high or low, how does it affect the body?
So many different ways. So if you think about the things that the thyroid regulates, the couple of things that I just mentioned. So we'll talk about hypothyroidism because it's the most common one. Think about all those things as slowing down a bit. So the body is sort of slowly running out of fuel. The person may experience fatigue, sort of mental fogginess, feel cold. There may be some weight gain involved because the body's not burning calories correctly. There can be constipation because the gut is slowing down. People may feel puffy and swollen. Women may have heavy periods. So a whole variety of symptoms that really can make someone feel quite unwell.
Yeah. And I know one of the things we have to do is we have to check our neck.
Yes.
So
that's very important. So the one way to check the thyroid function is a blood test that will tell us whether your thyroid is functioning normally, whether it's hyper or hypothyroid. But the neck check is something I definitely wanted to bring up because the physical exam of the thyroid can give you a clue as to whether you may have something going on with your thyroid. So I would just want to demonstrate what that's all about.
Go ahead, take it away.
So the thyroid, again, so I brought my model of the thyroid. And so again, as you can see, it is a butterfly shape. And if you imagine that it is sitting right at the base of your neck. And so if you imagine that your thyroid is here, the neck check is actually free. It's a self-exam, just the way you might need to do a self-exam of other things. And all you need is yourself and a mirror and maybe a glass of water so that you can swallow a couple of times and you can follow actually how the thyroid rises and falls naturally in the neck. So if you sort of look in your mirror and tip your head back just a little bit, and you need to sort of imagine where the thyroid might be located. So your main neck muscles will form a V right at the top of your collarbone, and your thyroid will be located sort of within that V. So the first thing you want to know is to see if you have any extension of the thyroid or any swelling of the thyroid that extends beyond the V of those neck muscles. That's an important clue as to the possibility your thyroid might be a little bit swollen or maybe a little bit inflamed. The other thing to look for is take a swallow and you will see that your thyroid tissue will move up and then down. So don't mistake that for the Adam's apple because the thyroid is sort of beneath that area, but you'll see that naturally move up and down, and then you're going to look for any bulge or any sort of abnormal or an asymmetry between the two sides. And if you do, that might be something to check out further.
And so how does the thyroid disease actually impact the body?
Right, so the impact can be twofold. One is the functionality of your thyroid. So if you're hypothyroid, you could have those symptoms for sure, and that could make somebody feel poorly. If you have hyperthyroidism, it's everything in the opposite, actually. So a person may have rapid weight loss despite a very high appetite. They may feel hot, they may have palpitations, shortness of breath. People may have loss of periods or infertility. So there's a variety of things that a person may feel if they're hyper or hypothyroid.
And we know women have a particular issue when it comes to thyroids as
Very
well.
important.
Speak to that.
So one of the main risk factors for thyroid disease or thyroid dysfunction is family history. So if you know somebody in your family, your mom or your sister or a cousin, a grandmother, and I'm listing women in the family because women are about 5 times as likely to have thyroid dysfunction as men. So that's definitely something to be aware of. Now, men are not off the hook because men who have thyroid nodules, or remember I mentioned a bulge or a lump on your thyroid, men tend to have a little bit of a higher rate of those nodules actually being thyroid cancer. So everybody sort of does definitely need to be checked for the thyroid.
And when you hear the word disease, of course, people always sometimes take a step back. Sometimes there's a little freak out moment. But honestly, when you talk about disease, disease can be treated. Talk about the treatments for thyroid disease.
So thyroid disease is imminently treatable, and it's a hormonal issue where the thyroid is actually making not enough or making too much of the hormone. If the thyroid is underactive, we have very, very good thyroid hormone in the form of medication that a person can take, and it's quite a simple treatment, and it's very, very effective. Overactive thyroid, there's a variety of ways it can be treated. We usually cool things down by medication, and then depending on how long-term the medication is set to go, we can continue that, or there are other more definitive treatments such as surgery if it's necessary, radioactive iodine ablation, and those are things that we think about down the line once a person's feeling a lot better.
Yeah. About how often should a person be checked out for this?
Oh, good question. So the thyroid blood test should be checked definitely at any time a person has those symptoms that I mentioned. It is not always part of the routine panel when you go and get your physical exam every year, but if any of those symptoms exist, then certainly it's a very good discussion to have. Now, some of those symptoms that I mentioned, fatigue and weight gain and things like that, are quite general and non-specific. So just because someone has those doesn't mean you necessarily have a thyroid condition, but the thyroid evaluation is certainly a good thing to rule out if anyone has those symptoms because it's so treatable.
Yeah, well, Dr. Jesulo, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
My pleasure.
It is definitely Thyroid Disease Awareness Month. We want to thank you for coming and sharing this and bringing us this awareness.
Happy to be here.
All righty, now listen, if you want to book an appointment, you can call 212-305-0078, or you can visit the website at columbiasurgery.org. We encourage you, please don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to learn about a spoken word focusing on the troubled state of American politics. That's coming up next, so stay tuned.
It's time to get serious about your future. At Bronx Community College, you can earn an Associate of Applied Science degree and become a medical laboratory technician in as little as 2 years. Earn an average salary of over $50,000 a year in one of the most rewarding careers in medicine. All you need is a high school diploma or equivalent to get started. Those who qualify can get tuition covered by grants and scholarships, so why wait? For program details, contact Bronx Community College today.
I was there.
I was there.
Yo estuve allí.
So many symptoms came on me all at once. Shortness of breath. I stopped sleeping.
I was getting laryngitis.
Emotionally, it was a basket case.
None of these issues did I have before 9/11.
The World Trade Center Health Program gave me hope.
You don't have medical insurance? That should not be a problem because the fundings are already there.
The doctor told me when I spoke with her, she says I could fill a room with people that sound just like you.
They were very thorough, very caring and empathetic.
When I left there, I had a plan in hand.
If you're sick because of 9/11 and its aftermath, the World Trade Center Health Program can help you.
There's no other place like this.
It saved my life.
And we are back. Thank you for staying with us. Exposing politics is a collection of poetry. It's a spoken word pointing fingers at the systems and processes manifesting and harvesting inequality and discrimination in America as well as globally. Here now to share a little bit more about the book is award-winning author, filmmaker, poet, Oscar Sanders. Sanders, thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely, John.
Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Challenging the American political system, huh?
Yes, because it's raggedy. And basically it's disrespectful of people, and it's almost like a global hate going on in the world. We marginalize human beings, and we kind of mask indentured slavery by saying that we are employing people and we're making them better when people have to have 3 jobs, they can't have health coverage, they can't have pre-existing conditions. It's constantly a maze and a trap for people, and then there's this small percentage of people who are very successful, have more than they need, and it seems like it's a game to keep it away from everyone else. So it's like the proverbial brass ring, so to speak.
So you take this passion, now you put it to spoken word.
Correct. Because sometimes we don't really understand the nature of what's going on, because a lot of times corporate media sits around and they kind of cherry pick what they want to explain to us and the way they explain it to us. And then they make us feel like they're doing us a favor when they're actually been holding us back. So my purpose is, through the fact of entertainment, is to actually give them education. And so I'm working with kids because I always felt kids were marginalized. They never really get the true education. We don't educate kids. We always educate kids to get jobs. We never educate kids to be entrepreneurs. We never educate kids to be civilly engaged in their own future. I think it's very powerful when you feel or you see adults on the Great Lawn, but then you see a kid with them. It's stronger. And we have to understand and educate that kids need to know, what's out there for them and what's not. And then they need to be fighting for that. It's great to play video games, and it's great to have fun. But also, too, when you live in a culture or a society that doesn't really love you, you have to be a lot stronger and a lot more assertive in your own future.
So you really do a good job of trying to draw people in your spoken words. You have one man, and you got 10 different characters?
10 different characters. So professionally, I'm schizophrenic because I don't know who I am sometimes. I could be Captain Barbosa, I could be Sidney Greenstreet, I could be Vin Scully, Peter Lorre, Jimmy Cagney, a Jamaican protester, a British commoner, Johnny Cash. Take your pick.
Who am I talking to now?
Oscar Sanders at the moment. Oscar Sanders.
Oscar Sanders here with us. He's talking about his spoken word, exposing politics. It's a collection of poetry. You got some work here too, right?
Yeah. One of my favorite characters was Captain Barbosa from Pirates of the Caribbean. And the story is, ye old spoken word, is based on the fact that as a society, we seem to not take seriously the perseverance and the nurturing of our youth. So this poem is basically about how we marginalize education and those benefits for kids in our future.
Take it away real quick.
Yes. I dare ye sully thy reputation with unholy presumption. Cast ye main starboard like ruin among the bounty. Why must I look for inspiration? Why must I look for misbehaving? I have been sweeping the dustboards beneath your cupboard for a score and a day, plotting for the moment to eradicate slavery away. Contemporary slavery is very much among us, like botulism or a reflected fungus, not in the hinterlands, where some wanted to be, at least seemed to be. Within the far depths of your cranial bastions, within the delights of your Octavius fashions, gaze upon young Bishop. He's a dependable lad. You have hindered his pursuit to be a university grad, with your incessant dependent on low wages, void of future sages. By the way, have you seen the price of mortgage rates lately? Winnie thy whip and chinny thy chain, I've labored tirelessly for the East India Trading Company for 3 bloody months and a day, learning the loin of my ilk, the texture of my silk. Shakespeare has nothing on me. He might write about it, but does he have the might? I doubt it. I have lived a life worth a tran of goats. More than 10,000 pages I have wrote. Keep underestimating the desire of the Negro. He will sow your country into a greater country. If you smoke weed, you'll probably get the munchies. But forget about that. 15 men on a ratchet winch chest. Yo, ho, ho, how we get in this mess? I miss a pirate matey. Oh, got me own baby, and I love her. Ahoy, ahoy! I am Lord Sanders, Oscar Sanders. Who the hell are you?
Oscar Sanders, award-winning author, poet, and filmmaker, talking about Exposing Politics, a collection of poetry. Now, real quickly, you got an ebook coming out.
Absolutely. Our ebook is out on January 21st, and you can get that at Amazon.com or MalcolmEntertainment.com, or you can get the paperback February 21st, and there will be a launch at Sisters Bookstore and Cultural Center on 156 Amsterdam, February 21st, 6 to 8.
Before we wrap up, what do you want people to take away from your work? Excellent work. What do you want people to take away from it?
I haven't been paying attention to my life, my world, and I need to probably turn down the ratchet television and get more engaged in my own future.
Oscar Sanders, a
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Absolutely.
Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Captain Barbosa, a whole bunch of other characters right here, right here. But we want to let you know, if you want to check out Exposing Politics, a collection of poetry, it's going to be available on ebook, as we said, on January 21st. And once again, the paperback launch taking place Friday, February 21st from 6 to 8 at the Sisters Uptown Bookstore and Cultural Center. That's located at 1942 Amsterdam Avenue. Now, if you want to reserve a seat, or if you have any questions, you can always email malcolmentertainment@yahoo.com. Taking a quick break, but when we return, we'll sit down with the licensed real estate salesperson to discuss several tips for first-time home buyers or sellers. You don't want to miss this, so stay tuned. We'll come right back in a few. And we are back here on Open. Want to let you know the new year is upon us, and with the new year, you've got New Year's resolutions, things that you're thinking about, new ideas, new visions, new dreams. One of those dreams, possibly owning your own home. Are you thinking about owning your first home? Or are you a homeowner that's actually looking to maximize your profits on your home? Well, this upcoming seminar is providing individuals all of that information needed to be a first-time home buyer as well as a seller. And joining us now to share more is licensed real estate salesperson at Better Homes and Gardens, Rand Realty, Giovanni Giron, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And so, yes, it is January, and people do have these aspirations.
January, new year, new everything.
Right.
So, buying or selling a home.
Right.
Why not?
So let's talk a little bit about the buying and the selling, right? There's some people out there that may be first-time home buyers. They have this idea, I want to buy a home, right? Great idea, but you still have to put some homework into that buying a home.
Correct. And that's where we come in. And that's why we started in January, because we're very big in education. Oftentimes, customers come to us, they have no idea what to do or how to start, or they get their information from their neighbor who sold a home with some sort of price, and it's probably not correct, the information. So we are here, we combine the best of the best, pretty much, of a team who will show you how to buy it, how to get pre-approved, the attorney, the inspector, the insurance agent, and of course us, the agents. So we will guide you step by step, because there's a lot of misconceptions that it takes 6 months to buy a home or sell a home, and it's not anymore. Not with the right team.
Right. Things have changed.
Things have changed a lot.
Right. So talk to us about if I'm a home buyer, right? Thinking about buying a home, what are some of the first things I need to know?
First things first, get pre-approved. You need to get pre-approved in order to know what's your buying power. Once you get pre-approved, you know how much you're able to spend, you know how much you can put down, all the different programs that there are. Not often do you have to do 20 or 25% in down payment. You can do a 3.5%, a 5, even a 10. It all depends what works for you. After that, you hire a realtor. Once you hire a realtor, we do the work for you pretty much. And we point you to the right direction.
So that pre-approval process is very important, right? But what are some of the things I need to know in order for me to be pre-approved? I know credit is the main thing.
Credit is the main thing. However, even if you think you can or you can't, you probably can, actually. That is why it is great to have a consultation. Oftentimes with our clients, they come for a consultation. Maybe your credit score is not there, maybe your income's not there yet, but we will guide you into the homeownership process. It may take a year, it may take 2 years. Oftentimes it doesn't happen right away because you're not prepared, but we will show you how to get prepared.
When you talk about that number, that credit score number, everybody has to have a certain number. What's the average number, the best number that you should have if you're really thinking about buying that home?
You know what? With the banks we are affiliated with often, they have different programs. I cannot give you a number because oftentimes they can help you bring it up. And you can still buy a home.
Right.
So a minimum I cannot tell you, but I know you can get pre-approved depending if you do your homework with them.
And so when you talk about, getting loans to cover like rehab costs and stuff like that, because there's some people who've got homes and they want to, either fix it up to stay or fix it up to leave. So talk about that, and is that as much of a strenuous process as well?
It is not. It is not. If you want to refinance, you can refinance, and if you have equity in your home, you can cash out probably if you would like. Or you can do, if you're purchasing, you can do a 203K loan, which will help you include those renovation costs inside your loan. And you can still become a homeowner.
Right. Yeah. I think sometimes a question comes up when you have two people in the household. One person has so good credit, somebody doesn't have as good credit. How does that play out in terms of the family when it comes to either buying and selling?
Well, you combine the income. If you combine the income and you combine the credit, you help each other out pretty much. And the more income, the more you can qualify. Also, it all depends on your credit. It's not only score, but it also depends on how much debt do you have. or if you do have established credit or not. That also takes into effect. So not often it is a credit score per se, but it is your history.
It makes a big difference.
Yes.
So you've got this buying and selling, you got the seminar coming up. Talk to us about the seminar, who can take part in it?
Yes, I'm very excited. We are having it this Saturday at our partner's law office, 2861 Bruckner Boulevard. It is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And basically, we will have us, the agents, the realtors, the lenders, who will basically pre-approve you. You can get pre-approved on the spot. Also, a lot of people don't know that you do need a home inspector. So we will have a home inspector where you can ask questions. We have the attorney, because obviously as a New York State, you do need an attorney, and insurance agent, which when you buy a home, you do need insurance just like your car.
Right.
So we will cover all these questions for everyone.
What are some of the common mistakes that people do make?
Many. Many. But one, not having the right team. Not having the right team. Anyone that we recommend, actually, we recommend to our own family. So we know you're in good hands. Some people don't ask questions, and that's also another problem, because you don't know exactly what you're purchasing at sometimes, and what programs can you actually use, or how long does this take? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and this is why we're having our seminar.
Yeah. So when you talk about the team and having that right team, who are the players on that team?
Okay, so for Saturday, myself and my sister were actually partners with the New York Real Estate Sisters, so we are the realtors. We do have Susan Belize from Cardinal Financial, who will actually pre-approve you on the spot or answer all your financial questions. She's on with the money, pretty much. We do have the attorney, Stephen Colon from Colon and Villaplana, who represents both buyers and sellers. So either if you're buying or selling, he can represent you and guide you through the process. We have the home inspector. He will let you know what you need to be aware of when you're purchasing a home, or even when you're selling, because when you sell, you should also get an inspection. That way you have more leverage when those offers come in. And the home insurance agent, who sometimes you're in a flood zone or you don't even know there's a flood zone, and he will let you know that and give you the best quote.
All right. Well, Giovanni, got the whole team ready?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
And hopefully we'll get some people out there to make sure that they can take advantage of this and get their new year started right.
Yes, stop by.
All right. So once again, to recap, the First Time Home Buyer and Seller Seminar is taking place on Saturday, January the 18th from 11 to 1 at the Law Office of Colon and Villaplana. That's located at 2861 Bruckner Boulevard in Suite 2. Now, if you need more information, you can, of course, pick up the phone. The number you call, 646-584-4467, or visit their website at randrealty.com. Well, we're back with more shows. Stay tuned, because when we return, we're going to sit down with BronxWorks representatives to learn about this year's Polar Bear Plunge. And it's a cold dip, baby. I need you to know that. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back.
Jerome Avenue, the heart of the Bronx. This is where I grew up. Business is booming, people are moving, everyone works hard. Nothing was handed to anyone here. I've been in here to take my passport pictures. I bought flowers here for my mother. Oh, this is where I get my smoothies, by the way. Continuation. This is what we call the O, 170th Street. It feels so Bronx. Hey, my man Fonzie. We've walked up and down the corridor, nothing but love. And I'm glad to say that Jerome is home.
Did you know that brain and spinal cord tumors are the deadliest form of pediatric cancer? It can happen to anyone.
I'm not hungry. My tummy hurts.
You can help us be part of the solution.
Get in here. Hurry.
You can be part of our family.
It's okay.
Please support our mission today. Making Headway Foundation, dedicated to the care, comfort, and cure of children with brain and spinal cord tumors.
And we thank you for staying with us. I want to let you know that BronxNet is actually partnering up with BronxWorks once again to help raise awareness about homelessness. Bronxites will gather to swim in Orchard Beach frigid waters for the 6th annual Dip Against Homelessness at the 2020 Polar Bear Plunge. And joining us now to tell us a little bit more about the details are BronxWorks, representative Shauna Berry. I almost gave you a job, see? And it's Acedo, and thank you so much. And he's also the Homeless Outreach Team Coordinator.
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming and being with us
Thank
again.
you for having me.
As we said, we talk about this just about every year, you know, since you've been doing it, and it continues to pick up momentum. It's a great event, but truthfully, a real serious issue in our community. So a little bit more.
Yeah, I think what's really important is, although the day is really fun, it's a family event, we're really excited to have everyone come out. It's also really about bringing awareness, being really mindful of our clients who have housing insecurity, who are every night sleeping outside on the street in this really, really extreme weather, and wanting to raise awareness and more support for those people that we're helping every day.
Yes. And so we have an outreach team that travels throughout the Bronx 24 hours a day, and we look for the homeless population. We offer them services. We bring them in to stay warm. They have 311 is when DHS alerts us and let us know that it's below 32 degrees. And we kind of focus on the people that we know that are staying in the street, try to bring them in to stay warm so they don't freeze out in the cold.
And sometimes you'll actually get phone calls, right, from actual people in the community who say, listen, I see somebody, and you're dispatched out.
Yes. So we also have something where 311, somebody can call 311, they will alert us, and we would report to wherever the client is at and to try to address any services that they need and bring them in for any additional services that they need.
So, Shauna, this event actually here is Polar Bear Plunge, taking a dip for homelessness. Tell people exactly what happens.
What happens
She
is,
said, like it was cold. Like
what happens is a great day. So everyone gathers, we're gathering on the 8th of February. It's a lot of people who come together. Some people are courageous, most of us are, but we also love having supporters. So it's really a day about kind of gathering, helping fundraise, and really having a good day at an event to get in the water. And we're talking about in the water.
In the water.
So people are
In the
swimming,
cold. There you see the
doing
pictures.
the backstroke. You know, I get up to here every year. You know, I can't do the head. Yeah.
You're in?
But it's pretty impressive. It's really fun. People bring their families. They bring their dogs. It's really fun.
And mind you, people see this picture right now. Oh, no, go back, take the picture. Go back, take it upstairs, go back to the picture. I want to emphasize that this picture that you just saw, or the picture that you see, this is not the summer, ladies and gentlemen. I need you to know this is the middle of winter. It is freezing cold outside, and these people are actually taking a dip in the middle of the water in the winter. And I've been asked to do this year after year after year, and I want you to know I'm glad that I could do my job from the inside, which is promote this event.
You're waiting for the temperature to rise.
Right. But the way the temperature's been going, I mean, there's a possibility, you know.
I'm hopeful. We had ice a couple of years.
Listen, do you go?
I'm good. This is my
He's going
first
this
year.
year.
You're going in?
I'm like, no, this is like, I'm 50-50. I'm trying to decide
Yeah.
whether I'm going to go in.
We're gonna encourage
I'm
you.
going to be there,
Right.
but I'm not 100% sure if I'm getting in the water
Well,
yet.
if you don't, right, I got you covered, right? 'Cause what you say is I go out in the streets every day.
Exactly.
So don't worry, we got you covered.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
great. But honestly, though, you get great partners, and we get great opportunity to see people come and really help out for this cause. And for you, you know, you've got boots on the ground, you're working too. Tell us about how the homeless population has actually changed throughout the course of the years, because in many ways, New York City, people feel as though things are getting worse instead of getting better.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, the clients that we're working with every day who are chronically kind of having housing insecurity on the streets, they have a lot of complex, medical and mental health issues. So to be on the streets by yourself often, really isolated, having and struggling with mental health, medical conditions that are really complex, and then the extreme temperatures, that's what we're dealing with. That's what ESA is kind of making these dialogues and having conversations and forming trust with our clients who oftentimes are really scared of meeting people and trying to trust others, right?
Yes. And like I said, we go out 24 hours a day. We kind of see the clients every day. We build rapport with them. We also have like a medical outreach team that we take out our medical doctor and kind of address any medical concerns that they have in the streets. And we continue to engage with these clients and try to, convince them to accept services because we deal with a lot of clients that have mental health issues, substance abuse issues. So we try to work with them from where they're coming at and try to help them any way possible.
And really, truth be told, getting people to actually get in a vehicle and to receive services. You think that'd be an easy thing if people would say yes, but your reality is...
The main answer we usually get is no all the time, but it takes a little time, and once we build a lot of rapport with them, then they'll say yes. Sometimes we'll get them for a day, and then they go back in the street, and then we kind of got to continue our approach and try to get them to come in. And we had a lot of success, with dealing with clients for a long period of time and then getting them to come in and finally accepting services, getting treatment, working with a case manager and actually getting apartments.
And after the temperature drops a certain degree, it's almost mandated that people come in, right?
Yes, so part of the 311 that DHS alerts us is that we not to let people sleep in the streets. So if we notice that somebody is not being safe and they're not dressed accordingly, we can call 911. We also have mandated people that can get clients to come out the street against their will if they're at the point where they're going to do harm to themselves or can do harm to somebody else.
Yeah. It's the great work you're doing. Shauna, once again, you get a final quick comment to tell people come on out.
Yes, come on the 8th, February 8th. It's a Saturday. I can't promise the temperature will be warm, but I can promise fun.
Right.
Bring your family, bring your dogs. You can come and jump in the water. You can also come and laugh at us and just support us. That's fine as well.
Right. Keep your clothes
February
on.
8th.
Cheer. That's the
exactly. You can do that as well.
And that's some hot chocolate.
Yeah. And bring some warm. All right. Well, I need you to know the 6th annual Dip Against Homelessness is taking place on Saturday, February the 8th at Orchard Beach at 11 a.m. Now, we do have a lot of laughs, but the truth of the matter is a very serious issue. Now, if you want to register or find out more information or be of assistance, you can visit their website at bronxworks.org. And most of all, check out the link on the bottom of the screen. Now, you can also give them a call at 718-731-3114. Shauna, thank you so much for coming and being with us once again. I want to let you know we've come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests and most of all you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, guess what? There is a recablecast that you can catch at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Files Channel 33, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. And as always, you can catch a brand new episode of Open on Friday with my girl, Rena Valentine. That about wraps it up for us here on the set of Open. I am Darren Jaime. Make sure to keep this channel wide open. We're saying take care, God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.